interested in this space.
Nice.
So, it's very important to get to know about the career options. Thank you, Rashmi. So, Rashmi, finally your dream is sort of taking shape.
No, not mine. Yeah, it's just, I think everybody with Meghna, Megha, everyone, and welcome, Arati. This is Rashmi Lamba here.
Thanks,
Good,
Rashmi.
good. So good to have everyone. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And I sent a message today, Meghna. This is, I don't know if you, I believe you know Ashish Kulkarni, right?
Yeah, of course.
So he in Pune, because these days I'm staying in Pune, right? Because my house is
okay.
being repaired. So a nephew of mine wants to join animation and VFX. So that's how I went across to that, what I messaged on the group.
Right.
Called design skills,
Design skills. Okay. Right.
Apparently these guys used to be with Reliance. So,
yes,
that's another aspect, Madhura, that we can explore.
Yeah.
Right.
Animation and VFX. So another dimension.
Yeah, that's a very upcoming and a very, very big things happening there. I know that.
No, and so many young girls that you have, the mentees are so into this whole area, with allied skills, I would say. So, and Meghna, they have something called, which was fascinating to know about. There's apparently a World Skills Olympics.
Okay.
In which
I know
guys, in which the design skills has been training, and a young girl won it in 2019.
Yeah,
she won the bronze. Yeah, so maybe we can get her on, Madhura.
Yeah.
So good to see Megha also. I can see
Megha. Yeah. I think even Deepti said she's joining. Deepti Gupta said she's joining.
Oh,
so
very
good. Yeah. So
very
I've been telling people too.
So we're seeing a lot of people from Aspire for Her, and I'm sure some folks from Whistling Woods also would have joined. So I'm hoping
Megha is really looking forward to listening to Meghna. So
Megha, really, I wish I could attend your session. I really wanted to, because I would have got a little bit of insight into what is to be done. But I was in London that week.
Just be yourself. That's my only insight for you.
Oh, you can attend her session still. It's on our YouTube.
Oh, is it? Yeah. I should have done it before this session. Then I didn't.
Thank you, Sneha. So we are live across all 3 platforms, which means YouTube and LinkedIn
and Facebook.
And Facebook as well. Fantastic. For a change, I think, let me go on Facebook and say we are live at Aspire for Her. Look at us or something like that.
Just tag us also, so we'll repost it.
I will do that. Actually, let me do that on LinkedIn, where I have a far better presence. I can do that, right, Sneha? I can.
Yes, ma'am. You can share the live stream.
Share the live stream. Okay, I guess we should get started, right? I can see this.
Yeah, I think let's get started. Yeah,
we can start now. Okay, so good evening, everyone. Welcome to InFocus's second session today. Me and Ishita are going to be your moderators. Aspire for Her Foundation welcomes you all to the world of media with its new vertical, InFocus: film, broadcasting, journalism, and more.
We promise you this session will provide insights about digital certificates abroad. It will offer you loads of career sources, and all the participants will be awarded with an e-certificate at the end of the session.
We'll be sharing a poll as well, so kindly fill it in and let us know your expectations from this chart. Sneha, you will be sharing the poll, right? Okay, so before starting the webinar, I would request Madhura ma'am to introduce the audience to AFH and share a little about the foundation, followed by Ms. Ruchita to introduce our vertical to the audience.
Thank you so much, Simran. It's lovely to see you and Ishita actually conduct the session today. And this is something which is very typical of Aspire for Her. We try to get young women to run our important projects. They are the face of Aspire for Her. They're very critical parts of our community, and we like to give them the spotlight wherever possible. So firstly, a warm welcome to Meghna and Arati. Both of you are fantastic mentors at Aspire for Her as we speak today. So very, very proud to have you because, we always believe in getting the most differentiated career paths for our members all the time. We don't want to look at only the well-beaten tracks. We want to look at those tracks which clearly are off the beaten track, and people should know a lot more about them to actually discover the true potential in what lies ahead for them. And both of you have very, very exciting career paths. So we are eagerly looking forward to listen to that. Little bit about Aspire for Her. We are about 18 months old. We have a community size of about 76,000 across 60 different countries. We motivate women to enter and stay in the workforce. And all the mentors that you see here, besides Meghna and Arati, we can see Rashmi and we can see Megha and a whole lot of others. They all deeply believe in the cause, and they ensure that they put in their time and their energy in motivating younger women to follow great professional careers. Our message to all women is do not ever give up on your career. And we do that with our own proprietary 5-point mindset change model, which includes mentors and role models, learning resources, career previews, a fantastic peer community, which is like cheerleading each other all the time. And of course, what we call 3E, which is the pathway to economic success, which includes employment, entrepreneurship, or education, which leads to one of these two. So what I think both our mentors here will talk about is their own career paths, as well as what career tracks lie ahead for all of you watching here today. Thank you for watching us. Thank you for being a part of our movement. We've been very lucky. We've been awarded by the United Nations Women a few days back. We got covered by the BBC. And of course, we were invited by the Bombay Stock Exchange to talk about entrepreneury, which is one of the communities that we look at with women entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs. This In Focus is a very new community for us, and it's something that truly has been built with passion and love. With all our mentors who have got together, hi Chitra, I can see Chitra also now, with all our mentors who have got together from the film and media vertical, and they have all put in a lot of love into curating this content for you. So thank you so much, Simran, Ishita. This is the first time that I'm seeing you on our platforms conducting something. I'm sure it will not be the last time. Because we believe in giving opportunities to all young women at Aspire for Her, and to actually showcase what sort of wonderful careers lie ahead of you. So thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. We would now like to welcome our two special guests, Meghna Ghai Puri and Arati Kadav. Miss Meghna is the principal of Whistling Woods International, a renowned film, television, animation, and media arts institute, providing world-class education in all technical and creative aspects of filmmaking and television in Mumbai. She is a King's College London alumni where she completed her degree in business management. She is also a mentor at Aspire for Her.
Ms. Arati Kadav works as a director at Electric Films. She is also the founder of Short Film Window, where she manages a team of software development and editorial content. Thank you for gracing us with your presence today, Ms. Arati and Ms. Meghna. We look forward to learning a lot from both of you today.
Thank you for the welcome. Thanks, Madhura. Thanks everyone at Aspire for Her for having us and really making us part of this wonderful, wonderful community of women. Thank you so much. And thanks, Arati, for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's lovely to be here.
I think Arati's voice is a little low. Meghna's voice is very clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it better if I project? Is it better?
I think, yeah.
Okay, so I think Simran, you're taking over.
Yeah, we thought that, once we start getting some takeaways, we can ask the questions, but we can start beginning with the questions too.
Yeah, I think you can get started.
Yes.
Okay, we'll do that. So my first question goes to Ms. Arati. So what I wanted to ask you is, how long have you been in this industry? And, over the years, how has the functioning changed with respect to how women co-workers are treated?
So I joined this industry around 13 years ago. So I graduated from film school, and it was also a career change for me because I was a software engineer before I decided to be a filmmaker. And when I joined 13 years ago, it was a very different industry than what it is now. In last 4 years, there's been a massive explosion because there are a lot of this OTT content like Netflix, Amazon. So there's like a massive, wider range of opportunities available for us. But when I graduated 13 years ago, feature films were the primary ones, or there were TV serials. But TV series was something that none of us were really keen on because it was like it had a content, or its framework didn't speak to us at that point. And we were also this brash young film school graduates. So it's both two-way thing. And I also had this thing that I wanted to make science fiction. So I was very clear that I will not just make a film, but I would want to pioneer whatever I want to do. And I really used to believe in that cause, and I still do. That I don't understand why there's such a rich mythological history in our culture or in our literature, but it's not at all reflected in Bollywood, which is our dominant medium of consumption. So I used to really believe in bringing up magical stories and urban fables. So I had definitely a huge struggle for 5 to 6 years. And I think it also happens at that age, and it's also in film and movie industry is tough for both men and women to begin with. But at that point, when you have a young girl coming out of a film school and saying, oh, I will make sci-fi and I'll make spaceship, you kind of, nobody would actually believe that you might be able to successfully execute that. So I don't completely blame them, but of course there's also this little bias, I always feel that with someone with my age or my experience, if this was a guy, it's a very different thing, and with a woman, it's a slightly different thing. But having said that, like over a period of time, I have built my own, mini team over here, my community over here who believe, who have faith in me. I have my own. So now if I want to make something, I can try to execute it. I know I can execute it successfully, and I've demonstrated it many number of times. And with OTT, I think there's a lot of need for content that stands out as compared to earlier, where you wanted to fit into a certain formula. So things have really become much better with all these platforms. They also come up with their contracts and this, so it has become more formal. Earlier the payment mechanism was not formal, so the pay disparity becomes even huge in cases like that. Here, when they see it in black and white, I'm pretty sure there's still some disparity, but at least they can see it, and it's getting way better. So I can see that in last 4 years, especially last 2 years, and whatever happened, because the movie industries, whatever happens, so the churn has helped us a lot. Yeah, there are a lot more opportunities for sure.
Thank you, Arati.
Thank you.
So my next question is from Meghna. So what inspired you to enter the educational field?
Hi everyone. Thank you for joining the session. Just give you a little bit of a background on myself. I was born in this film industry. Okay, so I've seen the film industry very closely. And I had the good fortune of getting to know the entire filmmaking process, even as a little child, because I would always be on sets. I hated it, by the way. I did not enjoy it at all. And I think that's why I'm not doing what Arati does, because I was so put off by it. My father is a filmmaker, and workaholic. So he works so hard that as a child, I used to just feel that I don't want to be doing what he does, So when there was a lot of expectations that given that I was such a big filmmaker's daughter, I should have at least tried out direction, if not acting. I just wanted to stay really far away from it. So I went ahead and I did business school in London. But while I was studying, I also was in touch with the industry. I assisted my dad in all aspects of filmmaking because I wanted to keep my options open. And I wanted to learn about the business side of films. I wanted to learn about, distribution, marketing. So I continued working with him. And I think that one of the things about girls, any girls that mostly we say this phrase that behind every successful man there is a woman, and I feel like for a lot of us women, and Arati will agree, I'm sure, it is actually the men in our lives who have really supported us and believed in us. So I feel like if my father didn't believe that his only daughter was actually going to come back to Mukta Arts, which is our film company, and do something with the business, I don't think I would have. I would have easily just got married off and and lived a happily ever life, or whatever you call it. So I think that he believed in me. He wanted me to have a career, and which is why when it was his dream to start a film school, because he himself went to a film school, but it was all the way in Pune. And when he came to Mumbai as a struggling actor, he had no network here. He had no support system here. And so it was actually back then when he was struggling to even pay his rent or pay a taxi fare, he made a promise to himself that if he ever made it, he would build a film school in Mumbai. And I think that dream really became a reality when he did make it. He in fact took Mukta Arts to the stock exchange, launched an IPO, and to ask the investors that he would want to build a film school. So I don't think anybody would do that, but he did, because he really wanted to do this for the future filmmakers of the country. And I think Arati will also talk about it a little bit, but I feel that that's one thing that we as Whistling Woods have really been able to achieve, that create that amazing community and network of creative professionals who really reach out to one another when they need each other. So going back to my journey, that is when he thought of building the film school, he thought of calling me back from London. I was very, very resistant to the idea because I was all of 21 and I really was enjoying my independence in London. I had no intention of coming back. But I think it is, in hindsight, the best decision I took. I don't think I had much of a choice, to be honest. My dad just said, you have to come back. I have to come back. But honestly, it is the best thing that I ever did, because I don't think any 22-year-old will have the opportunity to work on such a large project. I, of course, wasn't the president back then. I worked as a team member. We were like 3 people as like a startup in a small room, trying to figure out what a film school should actually be like in India. And then it took us many years. In 2006 is when we started Whistling Woods. Again, we started Whistling Woods with this huge campus, which could have more than 1,200 students. But we wanted to be a film school. So we actually ended up getting only 75 students. So as a business model, it just didn't work. And I think given that my dad was so passionate about building a good film school, he really wanted to give the students the best. But luckily, my management experience worked. And I'm talking more about this because we have entrepreneurs here. And it's important to understand that there's no point running any organization, even in an institute, if you can't sustain yourself. So the idea was to, really make enough money so that we can put that money back into the institute and keep upgrading and keep giving the students more and more of what they wanted. So that is when we decided to expand our courses. So from a film school, we started a media and communication school, which is more like a management school for media and entertainment. Then we went into design, like fashion design, visual communication design, events, music, performing arts. So we have 8 schools now. So we're not just a filmmaking school, we are a school of creative arts. So that has been my journey. And I think what really inspired me was my dad's conviction, and his passion that he really wanted to do this. And I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to try this out. And luckily, the universe conspired to make it all happen beautifully for us. And now we have the singles. So.
Thank you for sharing. It was really fascinating to hear your journey till now, and really heartwarming to see your dad supporting you in your endeavor throughout.
Yeah, dad and husband, by the way, because if he's logged on, he will give me grief later. But yeah, he's like, so everybody knows it's like both of us work together. And he was my backup for all my maternity leaves. So I think all the women here should know that. And he kept begging me to come back because he couldn't handle my job. But he did did a good job while I was away. So.
Kudos to him, because you've done so well and you're in such a good position right now. And I'm pretty sure you're inspiring a lot of young aspiring women right now. So my next question to you is, in your opinion, what do you think is the most significant barrier to female leadership, and how do you think aspiring women leaders can overcome it?
I think one of the, and I might actually, kind of start controversy by saying this, but I feel one of the biggest barriers is us women ourselves. I feel that we just have to believe in ourselves. I think that first of all, we have to stop listening to what the society expects us to do. We have to believe that we can do it. And I'm saying this because for the longest time, I didn't believe in myself. Yeah, I needed my dad to support me. I needed my husband to push me. I needed them to say to me that you're okay, you're good enough, we are behind you. Yeah. So if it wasn't for supportive family members, I mean, not just my husband and my father, my mom, my sisters, everyone in my family, I probably wouldn't have the confidence in myself to do it. So I think today's generation is very different. You guys, are really confident, men and women. And I feel like one of the biggest barriers that comes our way is confidence. So I have 2 children. And after both my kids, even though I was not in a filmmaking job like Arati, I was in a corporate institution job, which meant that I just have to go to office and work and not be on a set. I had huge confidence issues to get back to work. Even though it was my baby, like Whistling Woods was my first baby, everyone says that. I just had issues going back. And I think all women who are trying to get back to work after having their babies feel that. You have huge insecurities, you have huge confidence issues. So I think one of the biggest barriers is that once you build that confidence, then no, I can do it. I can have a baby, I can manage a family, and I can go to work. You know what? Nobody's going to be able to stop you. So, especially today, I think today things are very different. Men, have found out, sorry for the men who have joined the session, but slow, but, finally they have found out that women do have this amazing multitasking ability, especially in our industry. I feel women do so well because of that. And I think, that open-mindedness is becoming better every day.
Yeah, the answer was actually amazing, which you gave right now.
Thank you, Shita.
So, yeah. So, my next question will be from Arati. So, can you describe your journey to this level you have reached now?
My journey began.
Arati, I was also very, very intrigued by your journey, because your journey started in the Indian Institute of Technology. I mean, how many IITians do we know who actually moved into this space?
Yes.
So we're all eagerly waiting for that part of the journey.
Yes. No, so I was growing up, I was very creatively inclined, but I was also, very good in studies. So obviously I was cracking all the exam, coming first in the class. So it was, and I grew up in Nagpur. So the option of being in movie industry is not even possible. It's like, can we enter movie? So it wasn't possible. And because I did well, and I did well in all, both, even in bio and maths, and I got in eventually. I did my, I went to IITs, and I even got placed in Microsoft US. So I was working in Seattle for 3 years. And that was the first time I was outside my house, and I could explore my hobbies or my interests, with full passion and with zero interference or interruptions. So I actually bought myself a video camera, and that's where it started. So I started taking small videos, and I started editing it, and I started making small movies over there. And this was around, now it's been 15 years ago. And I did all kinds of experiments. I could make myself float in the air. So it was a fun thing, but I found I was also a slightly introvert person at that point. So I found a medium of expression, and I was super fascinated by it. And I remember my brother, and I started editing in Windows Movie Maker. And then I took some, CD from Palika Bazaar, something, where I got a pirated Adobe Premiere. So I was editing in that. So I was trying to grow over there. And my brother that time told me that, filmmaking is not window movies maker. There's something more to it. Like every art form, there is more to it. And because I had a hands-on experience, I knew that, because every time I was doing something, I was learning something new, and I knew that there was more to this art form that what as an outsider assumed it had. And that was a wonderful time when whistling was also starting it. I think it was 1 or 2 years already there. And I heard some wonderful feedback about it, about the faculty, about the people, and about the genuine passion of people involved, like people like Meghna and SG sir. So we knew that their heart and soul was in such a right place when they were starting this institute, and it was a lovely 2-year course. So I said, let me take a sabbatical of 2 years and learn something. It's like that, let's just learn it. And I was doing pretty well in Microsoft. Like normally people who say that, they say, oh, we were miserable, like in all those movies that we are in 9 to 5. I was not like that. I was actually partying. I was like having the fun, because the software life is also a lot of fun, right? So it was not that it was just that my passion, drew me here. And when I actually did the course, and the kind of exposure I got in terms of education, I was shocked, because growing up in Nagpur or whatever, in our schools, we are not exposed to the philosophy, even the the way a scene is constructed, or how music, or the colors, how do you choose them. So when I learned all this, I was like, this is what it is. This is where I can, this 100% of me I could pour in, like rather than software where I thought there's only 10% of me in my mind that is work. So I decided to really, like, that thought, whatever the confusion was, that after course I'll go back to software, that just went away, because I knew that this is what I want to do with my life. So that's why I started. But it was obviously it was a long struggle, because I was also, as you said, when you come out, and I think the best thing that happened to me in the course of the film school was listening, which was that I didn't know what I wanted to make. So I would, one story I would make a thriller, one story I would make a this. It was once when I accidentally wanted to make a sci-fi story, that the faculty really encouraged me, and I would always be thankful to that faculty, because we didn't have the budgets. And I wanted to do a lot of things. And sci-fi film by default requires a lot of budgets in terms of production value or VFX. And they said, do it. Film school is the only place where you can try and experiment. So I did it. And I remember we have a huge auditorium where the film was screened. It was this 8-minute film, but everybody stood up and clapped, because it was something they knew, something new you created. And I was like, that is the moment, like, when you see that, okay, this thing didn't exist and you brought it to life. So that was my moment of this, that I'm going to do this. And sci-fi is something, because that's where my mind was, really running. And even as a child, when I used to write a lot of stories that used to win all the story writing competitions, they were fantasy stories. So somewhere that dots got connected, and, so that's how it started. So when I graduated, I was like, I'm going to make a science fiction film. So I did do, see, in movie industry, if you want to earn money, you will get a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of advertisements getting made. There's so much content getting made. So, that was not an issue. And when I graduated, I was getting a lot of those work. I even assisted in a lot of ads. I even directed few ads. I directed music videos. But then I decided, let me just take a step back and, I decided to write a sci-fi film and decided to make it. So it was a longer struggle, because, immediately you don't have the resources or the money to make a feature film, because it's of the order of crores. So I started small. I started by making smaller short films. And that's where I started my platform, also Short Film Window, because I felt that not every outsider can make a feature film. But when you make a short film, all you do is you upload on YouTube, and then you get no spotlight. So how do you have someone else cheering for you? How do you have someone, what if there's a community of people who are seeking short films? At least they're in touch with these platforms. Right now, there are a lot of platforms of, like, but 7 years ago when we started shortfilmwindow.com, it was like just us, and there was no other centralized way. And a lot of industry experts were looking at our platform. So it was the best way for a short filmmaker to make their short film and at least be seen or heard. And it was a very director focus. So if your film is out there, we would be publicized, we would be taking your interview, we'd be showing pictures, because my idea was that nobody did that for me when I was making my short films, and I wanted to fix that about the industry. and I had some software expertise to get that going. So that's when I started, but gradually through that, my community built, and I had some strong allies. I had Meghna as my mentor throughout, and I'm not saying it as a formality. Like, she was genuinely a person who was on my call, on my speed dial list. I'm like, she was not like a way.
What do you mean was?
No, is.
I still am.
Yeah. So during the whole struggle, I would call her for even small things that, oh, I'm here stuck in Andheri. I would call her. Sometimes I think about the things I called her for. I would be like, oh, she must be managing an institute. But she was there for me emotionally when I was struggling to make my feature film, because it was a very small budget film and my ambition was super high. I was making a spaceship film. And then I realized it's a first spaceship film from India. Then I said, izzat ka sawal hai, India ki pehli spaceship achhi si banni chahiye. So we were like pushing and maxing out so much, and we were so happy that, and even after we made a film, honestly, it was not easy for when we got the we made the film, and I was like, now what? Because it's not that I had a plug and play ki yahan pe koi mera film release karega, wo karega. I think what helped us was a very big festival that selected us. This was a South by Southwest festival. And there's a local festival which is in Mumbai, which is a Mumbai Film Festival. So this is Smriti Kiran there. So these guys really kind of mentored us, and in the sense pushed our film in a lot of festivals. So eventually the film went to 35 festivals, and then Netflix picked it up. And when Netflix picked it up, it just, it released on Netflix, and then it was like top in India for 2 weeks. So eventually it happened. But I have seen every dark night before that I saw that, sunrise. Like, so it was a slow and steady thing. But I think only thing that helped me was that you have to be at it. You have to not give up. Like, that is the only solution to it. So
Yeah. And what a wonderful film it is. I don't know how many of you have seen it, but Cargo is the film that Arati is referring to. And, how beautifully it brings sci-fi and Indian mythology into that one film. I was just amazed when I watched it, Arati. I mean, I still think about it and get goosebumps.
Is it still, can we watch it now on Netflix?
Absolutely.
I was just about to ask, so I'm just
Please
mixing
do.
up my night schedule then. And I think all of us should do that. Cargo is the name of the film, right? And on sci-fi and spaceships. First spaceship film from India.
It has Vikrant Masi, who is amazing in the film, and Shweta Tripathi, two really amazing people. Yeah.
Fantastic. We all know what you're watching. You have a lot of fans, people watching here, people watching on the lives on LinkedIn, everywhere. Cargo is the name. All right. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Ms. Arati. And we all know that success does not come easy. And it's truly great to see all the obstacles you have dodged that were thrown in your way and had such a wonderful support system throughout your journey. So with this, I would like to ask you my next question, which is, do you think your education in filmmaking sort of gives you an edge over other people in the industry?
Yeah, so basically movie industry is the only place where someone who has not gone to film school will say humko to zarurat nahi thi, and people who have gone will say right. But I always feel that that doesn't, it's like saying a doctor who hasn't studied medicine saying ki, oh, I didn't need to study medicine. But if I have to go through an operation, I would really trust a guy who studied medicine. So it's just that you can't undermine the knowledge of a field just because it's so widely accessible to you. Even artists go to design schools. Like, so film is such a complex medium. And as I said, like, I was a good student. I was top of my game in Microsoft. But even then, when I came to film school, I realized, oh my God, there's so many things I didn't know. I think a lot of people, the way they start is by assisting a director, and you can, but then you're only exposed to that Bollywood director's way of working, which might not be best. By the time maybe you get a chance to make your film, his style of filmmaking might have already become obsolete. So why not study from the masters, the best of the film school, study the techniques of making films right? Because once you have the power of knowledge, right, education is such a big thing in your thing that you can, tomorrow, whatever challenge, like, I think it was very easy for me to successfully navigate from filmmaking to episodic writing because my basics and foundations are so strong. And because I'm technically so well versed, I can, I think one of the wonderful things that Whistling Wood also has was, like, in our time, that we had foundation course where we learned we learn editing for some time, we learn cinematography. So by the time you come out, and especially now that the gadgets to make films are like, earlier it was film camera, which was difficult. Abhi to everybody can have a phone and you can even shoot a film with a phone, and you can, if your basics are sorted, your film with phone will look even better than someone non-trained film on a bigger camera. So I think it's important that film school. So, and there are two things. One is, of course, the knowledge you gain, the exposure you gain, and the 2 years which you get to actually experiment, make films of your choice, and actually find your voice, which I think the biggest gift anyone can get, if you can figure out what you want to make. Because सबको कि मुझे film बनाने पर क्या बनाने किसी को पता नहीं रहता. But at least you get that when you go through the film school. I think the second is the wide network of friends you have when you get out of the film school. There's so many people who tell me कि आरती तो सबको जानती है. I said मैं क्या करूँ? सब मेरे film school में, ये मेरे क्लास में था, वो मेरे क्लास में था, ये मेरा senior था, ये मेरा junior था. You are never short of a team member. You can always call up, and that is very important, because otherwise, as an outsider, whom will you call when you want to make a film? You can't be a bunch of amateurs deciding to make a film. Even if you say as a director, I don't want, or it's about you, and even acting requires, I think, like I can see a massive, Rajkumar Rao is from FTI, like the top actors, Rajkumar Hirani.
Nasiruddin Shah learned acting for 7 years.
Yeah.
And that is why he's the finest actor we have today. The foundation of his career was so strong in education.
Yeah. And he will be working till his old age. Like, all of these, like, you're not a splash. People don't like you just, sometimes people like you as an actor because they identify with you. But with age, that identification, wears off. Like, but if you're an actor with strong technique, you will always be able to adapt. I personally feel like even acting requires a film school. Like, I genuinely believe that. But I feel that film direction, though, it's non-negotiable. It's a very highly technical job, like, which I have. Like, I have to plan my shots, every shot that goes in. So yeah, one needs to be ready for it. Like,
and I'd like to add actually a couple of things to what Arati said. So from my perspective, in terms of film school, Arati is like a model student, because to be an IIT graduate, an intelligent young girl joining a film school, right? Because for the longest time, parents would send their kids to film school if they were good at nothing. Okay, like that was the idea. That was the thing, that, oh, you know what, can't get into science, can't get into commerce, can't get into arts, ko BBA kara do, ya usko acting mein dal do. That was the concept. And I think to a large extent, we changed that at Whistling Woods, because, we formalized things. We made sure that there were entrance exams. We made sure that we had a university attached to us. We made sure that, people start looking at filmmaking, film education more seriously and make it more mainstream. And, the concept was that we would take less students, but we would take quality students, just so that we could, in the long run, so we didn't make money for years and made losses, and we still have huge accumulated losses, but that's okay, because we really invested in our future by focusing on quality. So I think one of the stereotypes that exists in the hearts and minds of parents, as well as children, maybe, that if I'm not good at anything else, maybe I'll just do filmmaking. It's an easy way out, but it's not. Like Arati explained, it's a very complicated. That's why I didn't do it, guys. I took the easy way out. I knew the real reality of things. So, and the second part of what Arati said is also very true, that the foundation that you gain from being in a film environment or creative arts environment, what you learn through collaboration. So the main thing about what we try to set out to do, a lot of film schools abroad look down upon Whistling Woods initially, because they were a bit snobby, and they felt that, you guys are spreading yourselves too thin. But the whole idea that we wanted to promote was collaboration, because our industry is all about collaboration. And today, like 2 years ago, just before COVID, 2018, we had 250 film schools come and visit Whistling Woods in a conference, and everybody who was against us doing what we were doing actually congratulated us, because they saw that now that the industry is a different place. Everybody works together in collaboration. Fashion students make fashion films to showcase their work. Now, Whistling Woods is the best place to make a fashion film, because you have a cinematographer, you have an actor, you have a set, you have everything ready, and you get to make a fashion film. So I think that collaboration is one of the main things, and before that you need networking, which Arati just mentioned. Another thing is, like, Arati's worked and one of the producers on our film Cargo is Anurag Kashyap. So our masterclass program, so the mentorship program that you guys run here at Aspire for Her, similarly at Whistling Woods, we have masterclasses every week. Now with so many schools, we have 4 masterclasses a week. So what happens is when students so closely interact with a filmmaker, they're not so intimidated by them, right? So I'm sure when Arati first met Anurag, she thought of, okay, what, I've seen him at Whistling Woods, let me go and approach him. That confidence comes within you that, what, if I say I'm from Whistling Woods, this person will immediately start talking to me because they've been there and taught me. So I think these are the things that make a film school or media education. I won't just stick to film because today things are really different. So I think talk about creativity and media education. I feel like it's really important to have that basis. Otherwise, you just go astray once you try to join the industry. I don't know if that was your question for me, Ishita, but I spoke a lot. Sorry.
No, it's totally fine. We actually love to hear you. So yeah, my next question is from you only. So what are the plans for your Whistling Woods International in the coming years, in the future?
We've had very slow growth in that sense. In 15 years, we've not really spread ourselves very thin because we, like I said earlier, we believe in quality. And in terms of creative students, they can be quite erratic. And, Arati knows all about that. They have all kinds of mood swings. And so, you have to make sure that each individual student is nurtured as a creative person and they are mentored throughout. And that attention can only be given if you continue to do things the way we've been doing things. So we do have plans for expansion, but the whole idea is, to really focus on more courses in the field of media and entertainment, but really keep the quality the same as what we've experienced in other programs. One of the newest things that we've done is something called Virtual Academy, which is an online film program, which really is something that I know only of a few international film schools that have tried online filmmaking, but we have a 6-month online filmmaking program. So for any of you who are not sure of joining film school, you're not sure if this is what you want to do and commit to it, have commitment issues, or if you're working, it's a very good idea to enroll in a virtual academy, virtual program in filmmaking, because you kind of, like Arati said, it's like a foundation program. You learn about editing, you learn about cinematography, producing, acting, all the concepts, editing, and at your own pace. And then you're ready then to decide whether you want a career in filmmaking or not. So that's something I'm personally very excited about, because I feel it gives so many people, whether you're a homemaker, whether you're an executive working somewhere and really bored with your job, or whether you're a young student who can't make up their mind on what they want to do, I think the 6-month program will really take them a long way, 6 months to a year. So, or you could do modules. So I think that's quite exciting. So.
Thank you for sharing. So my next question, it can be answered by either Ms. Meghna or Ms. Arati. So what role do you think women, especially young ones, play in the current Indian media education setting? This question can be answered by
media education. So
I'll answer media education. You can answer in the media field. Why don't you do that? You answer for the media field.
Yes. So I think there are a lot of ways to enter, young women. It depends on which field. Filmmaking is a very diverse field. I think it's the only art form that sort of covers all the art forms. It has production design, it has music, it has acting, it has, drama, it has writing. So, and I've seen more and more young women entering every field, I have the best editors I've worked with are women. So I think
you're a music composer as well. The composer.
Yeah, my best friend is a music. One of my very close friends is a music composer whose studio I just visited yesterday, and it's so amazing. She has a small child, and the child is in the music, in the music studio, and he's learning ABCD with music. So it's amazing. Different ways you can. I think it's all these things require your mind, which all women have. So. Yeah, you can join any field. You can join direction if you want. So there are women joining everywhere, and more so now things are opening up. As I said, in 4-5 years, there's a content boom. So there's always way more need of every person, like directors or technicians. So there's a lot of need for women in various fields. So yes.
Yeah. In fact, when we first started Whistling Woods, we only had like girl students joining acting or editing, maybe, a couple and producing, but nothing. No one is to join cinematography or sound. But today we're seeing so many girls wanting to become cinematographers. Because earlier it was like, oh, cinematography hai, heavy equipment uthana padega. We'll have to talk to the lightman. But girls can do everything, so I don't see them stopping at anything. Actually, they're doing. And when we first started, our ratio was about 20-80 or 30-70 women to boys, girls to boys. And now it's almost like 70-30 the other way, because with fashion and our management courses, there are so many girls on campus. So in terms of education as well, I don't know if that's my bias personally, but most of our HODs are women. And I have personally encouraged women to have children. I have personally, if they want to, of course. I have personally encouraged them to take nice long maternity leaves, and I have personally promoted and encouraged them to come back to work. So I feel like that is the bit that I did at Whistling Woods, by setting that culture. By I was the first one to experience it, and I really wanted each one of the women who worked with us to experience it, because I think it's important for everyone to have a balance between their family and work. And I think it's amazing that how when you let a woman know that you're most welcome back, and you can achieve anything, even if you have the support system, even from the workplace point of view, not just from your home. I feel they just are more committed to their work. They're more loyal. I just had my head of marketing return back from having a baby, and it doesn't seem like she was gone. She's like full of confidence. She's amazingly, enjoying work. And she's like, yeah, my son is fine. He's not missing me at all. So I think it's so good that, if we can all do that, I think women can be the biggest supporters. So all of us as women entrepreneurs and leaders, if we can encourage women to do what they really want to do without putting a barrier in their careers, I think it'll be amazing. So, and I want to share this small story about Arati. She didn't share it. I wanted her to share it, but she did her first ad film when her daughter Yuvishka was 3 months old or 4 months old. She was in a little baby carrier, and that was one of the frantic calls I got from Arati, saying, everybody's saying, are you crazy? You can't take a baby to a set. But she was feeding the baby, and she was like, what do I do? And I was like, you must do it. In my heart, I was really scared, because I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm sending her on a set with a small baby. But you know what? I had this gut feeling that she should do it, and she can do it. And there's a beautiful photo of her and her daughter in a baby carrier on a film set behind a camera. So I think women like Arati are really setting a great example for filmmakers, women filmmakers, and women creative artists in our country. So thank you, Arati.
This is so wonderful. This is so wonderful to hear. We'd love that photo if you have that handy.
I have to find it.
If that photo makes a statement, right? It makes a statement, and it will encourage and inspire so many of Aspire for Her members to actually look at their own careers, their own professions, not necessarily always on the film set, which is difficult, but it could be anywhere. And the fact that you can do it with a 3-month-old baby and feeding her, I think anyone can do anything. That's the message that we always want to give. So fabulous. Please do share if you can.
Yeah. For sure. Yes.
I think there are some questions in the chat. Do you want me to try and answer one of them while Arati looks for the photo? If she can find it, I put her in the spot now. I remember it.
You can send it later. You can send it later. You don't need to send it right now. We can send it later, and we'll just, we have a nice concept which we use on our social media platforms. So we like to sort of call out, important milestones and people's journeys. So we'd love to do that for you. And of course, for Meghna as well. So, when we do that, it'll be nice to use that photo. That's all. So whenever you have the time.
So there was a question on scholarships. Shall I answer that? Simran, Ishita, are we answering questions?
Yeah. Sure, we can do that.
Yeah, so there was
one last question.
Sorry. Yeah, please.
Since we're moving to scholarships, maybe before that, y'all can give the audience an idea about, the sort of degrees and programs one can pursue if they're interested in film and media.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of questions pertaining to that.
Yeah, of course. So fortunately, like I said, we managed to take film and creative arts education mainstream. When I say that, I mean that getting really good universities. So Whistling Woods is not a university yet. We are a private institution, but we got an university like like Tata Institute of Social Sciences to award degrees for our students. Now we're working with a university of national importance, Rajiv Gandhi University, so international university. So basically, we have these universities who have endorsed our programs, who've gone through the entire, gamut of quality QC and said, yes, this institute is doing a great job, and that helps a lot with parents, because I feel parents want that, right? They want a degree, they don't want a diploma. So I think that's really helped us take Whistling Woods mainstream. So we offer 3 to 4 year degree programs as well as master's programs. We have BScs, BAs, as well as MBAs and DDAs. Like I said, there are 8 schools. So from management to design. So design will have a BDes, 4-year BDes program as well. So I mean, it kind of ranges from filmmaking to performing arts to events and School of Media and Communication, which is our management courses, to School of Creative Arts. So earlier we were speaking about VFX and gaming, and so we do all of that here at Whistling Woods. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. So there's another question that someone's asked. So being a fresher 30-year-old from Delhi, what can be the best reference options for a startup career in this field, other than, simply going to film schools?
So I it's a bit difficult to answer because we don't know her background. What has she done? What kind of, what is she interested in? To be honest, just follow your heart, like, what you want to do. I think that if you want to definitely get into films, then there will be a need of, a little bit of knowledge, whether you want to go the internship way. But like Arati said, internship is kind of hit and miss, because sometimes you find a great mentor to help you. And sometimes you find a person who just, will not teach you anything. You just have to learn on the go, and that becomes very tedious. But yeah, I think if it's film, then I would suggest the online program. I feel that's really good for somebody to just get their foundation and their confidence in the field. What else? I mean, Arati, startup ideas. I mean, if we had startup ideas, we would do them.
Yeah, I know. And it's like, it's again the same thing. Like, when I was, I remember when I was switching from my Microsoft career to movie industry, my manager said that you might be probably the smartest person there, so you would probably be like the you probably already know what they're teaching. And I was like, no, like that's what happens when someone outside a movie industry assume that they know everything about movie industry, the making of movies. See, what you watch movies very different, and how it is made are 2 very different worlds. Actually, in fact, I have seen my core skills, what you see, your patience, my tenacity tested to the max more in movie business than while making a movie, than doing my coding, which was more push. So I just feel that, like, you can't say, oh, I'm from outside, I'll make a startup in media, but you need to know about the industry a little bit more.
In fact, that was the idea behind us starting the School of Media and Communication, because we found that, when people needed management or CEOs or marketing professional, they would go to FMCG companies and hire from there for a production company, or for a television house, or for a cinema multiplex chain. And we thought, these people have no idea. They have to learn from scratch about how films are made. So the best thing would be to actually train people in management with the extra knowledge of the entertainment world. And our kids are doing so well. I mean, they're all over the place. They're working in, as really top. I mean, it's amazing to see how, if I ever need a favor now, I don't need to call any of my colleagues or my, people who are like, in the industry that I know from when I was a kid. I just call up a student or an alumni and say, listen, I need this, and just get it done. And it happens. So I think that they're doing well because there was a real need in the industry for something like this. So I think that if you're looking at a startup, I think first, please read up on it and increase your knowledge about the industry.
And I think one best way to increase knowledge about the industry is to follow the In Focus series that Aspire for Her is putting together. I mean, you have a chance to speak to somebody like Meghna, somebody like Arati, and we have 3 more sessions coming up, or 4 more sessions coming up. In fact, so you should just keep watching. And who knows, inspiration will strike you, Sumit. So this is not a she, but a he. And thank you for supporting our mission, Sumit. We need a lot of men on the journey as well.
Yes.
Thank you for the question.
Yes, absolutely.
So since we're running out of time, we can probably entertain one last question. So someone has asked, what is the value of a storyboard, and whether the film shoot for Cargo was followed according to a storyboard.
So, so storyboard and short breakdown are one of the very essential pre-production stages where you and your cinematographer and most of your team come on the same page as to how you will construct a scene when you actually get down to shoot it. So the way a film is shot is first you have a story, but then you break down that story into its individual parts as to what will be in the background, what will be the foreground, what will be the actor do, and then what will be the shot. Like if the simple shot of me keeping a hand, it requires close up, mid shot or shot of me till here, putting my hand there, and a close up shot of my hand, the glass touching the my laptop. So they in just a simple thing, and that's the most simplest shot, which requires 2-3 shots, and maybe me looking at it. So there are 3 shots already. But when you go to a film, and as you evolve, as your filmmaking language evolves, you will learn about single takes, where you want to do all this, have this multiple thing in single take. So all this is required. So so one thing that we do before we go on the set is the director and DOP, they sit and they do the shot breakdown as to the entire film, as to what will be the list of shots. And in that, the storyboard becomes as a very important, especially if you're making a sci-fi film, where 50% of things will be coming on VFX. So all you're seeing is green screen. So you're not seeing anything. So over there, it helps to visualize your shot by shot as to how it will be shot. And it helps communicate everyone, right? From your DOP, but just production is your actors. So it becomes a way of breaking down the day. And I always say that, like, maybe on the day of the shoot, something really happens. That suppose you've gone to that to shoot that, and there's and there's some rain happens, and now you can't shoot there this direction, you have to shoot the opposite direction of the window. The advantage of doing storyboard is that you can improvise better when you have, because you have become so thorough. Because there are 2 things when you shoot a film: you not just shoot the text which is on the screen, but you also shoot the subtext, right? So when you're doing that whole thing of storyboard, you're already marking that, for me, this is very important as a subtext. Otherwise, my emotion will not come up. So storyboards, especially if you're an early filmmaker, I do encourage, if you're making your short films, only do storyboard just as a, making your, it makes you a better filmmaker, because it helps you evaluate your choices. Set पे जाके ये करना तो कोई भी कर सकता है. पहले आप 10 बार सोचोगे, तभी you will get better in your way of doing things. So I think storyboard is important, especially if it's a VFX heavy film like Cargo. We had storyboard for some of the scenes, but we had shot breakdown for all the scenes. Like, but storyboard we had for action intensive scenes for sure. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So I think someone sent one last question. So she's saying that sometimes people who are good actors and writers, they don't get a proper chance to really showcase their talent. So does it have something to do with the right platform, or not having the right platform rather?
Yeah, I to feel that anybody who's graduating and joining movie industry at this age is unstoppable. Like, there's nothing that can stop you. You can pick your phone, you can shoot, and you can put it on YouTube. The only thing that will stop you is your own limitation. So I think you have to stay, be a seeker of knowledge, work on your craft, and do a great job. Eventually you will strike gold. So it's like, in our time, I'm not saying that's a
Our time.
But so when we graduated, it was still there, and that's how I grew, by making short films. I made 4 to 5 short films before I made my feature film. So I was very confident when I was making my feature film. It enabled me to decide to make a short. It's also, when you have low budget and you're telling people ki ye spaceship banayenge, wo banayenge, aapke log things like that, so people would say, yeah, what? But because I had done so many short films, I had a certain confidence in my own ability, in the way. I love what Meghna said. The first stumbling block is you yourself, and it's not just a women thing; it's also creators thing.
Yeah.
All creators are also very vulnerable people, like, about what they want to do. So you have to get out of your own way, and one of the best way to gain confidence is seeing your own proof of concept. So I feel that, like, if you're young, if you're a good actor and writer, like Dhruv Sehgal, with whom I just worked with, and he did the Little Things. And so, you can have a Netflix series for 3 seasons, and you can be, nominated for Emmy. So there's nothing stopping you. He started by making a YouTube series out of his Little Things. It then went to a Dice Media, which is a very small platform, which was then picked up by Netflix. So there's nothing stopping you if you're a good actor and writer, for sure.
I think I agree with Arati for most part. Yes, there is an element of luck, but where is there no element of luck? Okay, so I think in life generally, you need the good luck and good fortune to kind of get the right opportunity, be at the right place at the right time. But having said that, what Arati said is 100% true. Your hard work, your attitude. Okay, I've had students who were really good looking, very talented, but they just didn't want to work hard. And, they got opportunities with big production houses and then they turned them down because they were getting a smaller role, etc. And then I had students who were, average looking and not really like your conventional actor that you would like to see in Bollywood. But they persisted and they were hardworking. They worked with anything. They did anything. They served coffee if they had to. They were there. And I think in this industry, especially, it's so connected with the heart. And one of the reasons that Arati does so well, anybody she meets in, big guys, big studio guys, young interns, she wins their heart because when you have the right heart, when you're a good person, that shows in your creativity. So I think that my advice to our students always is that please keep your attitude in check. Just because you've come to Whistling Woods doesn't mean anything. People will drop you like a hot potato if you show them attitude. So please be grounded and just follow your heart and do whatever opportunities you get, do it. I mean, I've done it when I was in London, without telling people who I was and whose daughter I was. I have mopped floors because I was working in a startup and we had to, in London, there's no like staff. So, we had to move tables, we had to put stamps on things, like really do all that kind of work. And I loved doing it. I enjoyed it. And it was my dad's strategy to make me work in a startup because he said, I want you to start at the very grassroots level. So when you come to India, you shouldn't act like the boss's daughter, like you see in the 80s Hindi films, So he made me, join a startup before I came to Bombay. So I feel these are things that are important for everybody, all the youngsters out there. Please don't be impatient. Take it slow. Arti's just shared her journey with us of how much hard work it took. But, when you win, when you're there at the top, or you made that film, that feeling of fulfillment and success is just something else. So, but it is a lot of hard work and you must keep at it.
Yeah, I just want to add one last thing that I was really blessed to have someone like Meghna as my mentor, and literally anybody who wants to do filmmaking should meet Meghna because she's literally the top one person you will meet in this industry. She's always been super encouraging, always, and she's always celebrated all her students. And I've been like, not just me, I've seen her in premieres. Like I remember attending one of her students, Aditi Anand's premiere. She had made some international film. And I could see Meghna's face glowing with so much joy, like a family, like she was her sister or mother. It was
I was like a fan. I was like taking photos and I was getting so excited.
So beautiful. And she does that for all of her students. And I don't know how that's possible, but she loves all of them so deeply. I find it very beautiful to have someone like that, running an institute. So the heart is such a right place. I feel so blessed that I went to Whistling Woods. Yeah.
Okay, now you made me cry, so please move on quickly.
So amazing, so amazing. This is such a, you just made our day. And Meghna, what you talked about, and you working in the startup and the fact that attitude is everything. I just wanted to tell everybody at Aspire for Her and everybody listening in that it is true for every job. It is not only true for the role that Meghna is talking about. It is true for every job. You actually, when you bring in yourself to the role, it's actually about the attitude and how you want to work here. And we see that every day at Aspire for Her. Even people who work with us, as ambassadors, people who then come and work with us on projects, work on our core teams, etc. The whole thing is that you cannot be choosy about the sort of work that you do, and you have to bring in 200% of yourself into it. And both of you have brought it out so beautifully. So really, really fantastic conversation. And back to you, Simran and Ishita.
Yeah, so it's amazing how we could conclude this Q&A session with such a wholesome exchange of thankful messages between our two speakers. So this brings us to the end of our session today, and we'll be sharing a poll. So please fill it in and let us know your valuable feedback.
Oh, I don't answer this.
And anyone who wants to link up with either Meghna or Arati as mentors, you just have to write to us at mentorship@aspireforher.org with your CV and your profile, so that our teams can actually link you up with the mentors. So the conversation doesn't end here. We go on.
In fact, it just starts here. So I have to just say that, when we started this vertical, because definitely we have mentors in this space, to be very honest, film and media only told me about acting, directing, producing, and I didn't think about anything. And so did my entire team out here. And then when we sat down, and I would say the team who actually has prepared everything, none of them are from film and media vertical. In spite of that, they have managed to get in all the small details. Thanks to you, Meghna, with some of your team, we could sit down and we actually found that there are more than 100 jobs that you can do just if you take out acting, directing, and producing from your head. If you are passionate, and of course, if you work hard, then this is just the right place to start, and also the right time, because at the end of the day, each one of us wants to log into Netflix and Amazon at the end of the day and see what's new. So it's a buzzing industry. There is always scope for more. And if that's okay, I'd like to ask Isha if she can actually show the kind of careers that you can make, because most of the people here do not know what careers you can make. At Aspire for Her, we also bring you a lot of opportunities and jobs, and you'll definitely find some which our mentors have gotten. There are some opportunities from TISS. So please have a look at it. We do provide many more as and when we get them. And each one of you can actually volunteer for a little time and see if this is really the right field for you. In fact, I remember last time when we had the session with Megha, one of my team members actually messaged me. She said, our parents should see this. And that was so true, because even today, I see a lot of parents still think that, my child should either be a banker or an engineer or a doctor. But there is so much more that you can do. And this is right in front of you, where you can look and see where you fit in.
That's so true, Ruchita. When students actually join Whistling Woods, parents don't even, sometimes some parents don't even show up. They don't see the campus. And then we finally meet them at the graduation ceremony. And it is so amazing to see them and hear them, because they've seen their child grow so beautifully in the 3 years that they've spent. Because, seeing that their child was allowed to do what they loved, they really are so thankful and grateful about it. So I think it's just the initial, and I can understand from a parent's perspective, somebody who doesn't have any background in this field, it's natural for them to feel like that. But I feel more and more talks like that, more and more communication like that will make them feel comfortable with the fact.
Exactly.
Yeah. Next time we should do a webinar with Arati's parents. They're amazing. And it would be nice to hear from parents of a filmmaker.
Definitely. So, and that is what we do at Aspire for Her, where we get in different career tracks, because you never know in what you can make a career. You definitely have to be passionate, you have to believe in yourself, and you can make it. So these are so many, and we have still 4 more sessions where we are going to keep you updated with whatever is the latest that's going on, and hope to seeing all of you in the next more sessions. Till then, keep aspiring for her. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks so much.
Wonderful session.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We hope you
Thank
all
you.
had a lot to take away from this session. And I would like to thank all the members, supporters, and guests of Aspire for Her for joining us today. And please sign up as members and supporters of our community in order to avail several career resources. You all don't want to miss this opportunity, especially if you're a young aspiring woman. And my teammates will be uploading the registration link in the chat box. So please do fill it in.
And for any queries, feel free to reach out to AFH on any of the social media platforms. We are on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, Medium, Sheros. I would like to thank the speakers, Meghna and Arati, for their insights and takeaways. We really love to hear from both of you.
Thank you, Ishita. Thank you, Simran.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you.
Thanks, Ruchita.
Bye-bye.
Bye.